At some point, I discovered the drums, and I went crazy with rock and roll with friends who were playing together in the band since we were 10 years old. So that's how everything started going really wrong. And at some point, I wanted not only one drum, I was drawing trailers with symbols and pots of plants, and my mother was just laughing at me. At the end, it kind of became true. Because in some projects, we do need literally a trailer to carry the instruments, depending on what pieces. So, so that's a bit of my background. If you have any question at any time, or if there's anything I'm not clear about, please uh, don't be shy, ask. I started studying composition after high school, mathematics, and at some point I dropped mathematics. It was supposed to be both at the same time. And then at some point I kept playing during all those years. I was playing more drums, jazz drums, and I discovered contemporary music, and I was really into it. And at some point, um, I decided to not become a composer right away, but rather to wait after I would become a performer, because I thought my body is now young, so I'd rather use that youngness, that strength and energy. Maybe later, when I have less energy, I can be a composer. So that's what I thought, that's what I did. Drummer was good, but here I am. After studying composition, again, I decided to do my final exam in percussion, classical percussion, in the school where I studied from England, went to Mexico, and then I will have an examination playing alone in a theater. Wow, a kind of whiplash, isn't that? A kind of whiplash situation. The guy was really nice, but it was just playing for one single person. It's strange to play across only one person. I think I only did that time. Then I went to the Netherlands to study a master's in contemporary percussion. I lived there for 8 years. I played in several groups. I studied, as I mentioned. And then I went to Montreal in Canada, and I did a doctorate, just finished. And there in the doctorate, I moved towards um, my first roots, which was a bit of dance, a bit of theater, a bit of acting. I was, I had still itchiness from that beginning. So I went deep into solo collaborations with composers, artists, um, um, some video artists as well. And I developed several pieces. I will only speak about some of them. Then we jump to my current practice. So my current practice, of course, as a percussionist, it's the repertoire of solo multi-percussion. What's multi-percussion is when a percussionist plays several instruments at the same time. Drumming is multi-percussion. But in contemporary music, you have extreme cases where you have some concerts that play one and one instruments, for example. So you get to play everything, every single stick, objects, electronics, etc. So that I find that really inspiring. It keeps you alert and learning all the time. Because every piece, every score you get, or every composer you collaborate with, has a different point of a different system of notation and different needs. So just to give you an idea, the first percussion solo that was ever performed, it was a piece called Cyclus, cycle, by Stockhausen, a composer. I have here, just good to see how the setup looks. So it's several instruments. You have to move around. You play all of them in a cycle. You start in one note, and you go around the circle in your whole piece slowly. Sometimes you have to do jumps, but you basically do a whole turn and you finish exactly on the first note where you started. What does the first note mean? I'll just say it really quickly. The score has it's bounded with a spiral and has no page numbers. So the percussionist chooses which note to start. So you have that freedom. You have to choose from different material. And the nice thing about it is that it's one of the first scores that it's not taken rapidly. So it's combining music notation, but it's also giving you a lot of freedom. And you'll see, I can tell you. So this is like the tempo, the timeline, this middle part. And here you will get bunches of information that you can choose from and then apply it, play. Here you can play this. You have to play all of this material, but you can choose when to play it. So there you go. Here you choose between this material or this material. Here you can choose between this or that. But at the same time, there's something that is strictly notated. You know, this is marimba. If you see, there's these drawings. It's supposed to be a marimba, and this piece you can play from left to right or from right to left. So that means you have a lot of possibilities. Having this in account, you can choose. In every page, you have a lot of things to organize before you can actually start practicing. So this kind of challenges are interesting to me. Here you can see another part. This is a close-up. So this is really a more chaotic part. This is a drum. And then you have dots. The bigger the dot, the stronger you should produce a sound. So it's really free, as you see. It's not really, there's not a time signature, so you're not counting 4 or 3. You count as you want. You have a time reference. And it's combining, as you saw, traditional music notation and graphic notation. Purely, of course, the other notation is also graphic, but we call this in academia graphics. It gives you more freedom and you follow it graphically. So that's only to give you an idea of what my daily practice is as a percussion player. However, I didn't rest in that comfort space of multi-percussionist, which is playing all these chords that are already played before. And this, what you saw was the first piece ever played for multi-percussion in 1959. Another piece that it's from 2000. It's called Mutant Theatre by a composer from Australia called Anthony Pateras. Anthony is embracing cheap electronics. That's how he says that. So I will let you do a little bit of it. We don't have a lot of time, so we can't hear all of this. This is the fourth movement. I performed there. It's my performance in McGill University, and I'm using a lot of instruments, and the electronic sounds you hear, they're all analog. They're produced by toys, Chinese toys, guns, and I have to arrange every device in order to be ready to sound radios. I have 4 or 5 different radios, so that's a lot of drums. Stereos. And it starts again. So as you can hear, amplitude, it's here, this end of this part. So then I was playing drums also at the beginning with my hands, and with my feet I was pressing a pedal. And those are radios. And I was pressing a pedal that activated, triggered laser gun. So you have to do musical. So in the parallel, you also have to take care of building your instruments and designing the speciality of these setups in order to be able to perform the beat. Sorry. That's coming later. Okay. So it's really postmodern. This what we do is we're playing always objects. In this case, I have to play with balloons, break them. I have to break light bulbs, etc. So it becomes, it's not only music. You are actually, it's a theatrical performance, right? And that's why it's called music theater. Although there is no character, the performer in this case is a musician. So you are not supposed to add any extra layer of theatricalities. Pure music that is theater. I've been involved actively in sound installations, live installations, which it's an immersive way to set the audience. One of the major works I collaborated with, it's a piece by the American composer John Luther Adams, who lived most of his life. He's still alive. He lived about 40 years in Alaska. He's an activist. There he realized he wanted to compose at some point at the end of the last century. He said, well, he had been written always for indoors. His music was for a concert hall. He was always inspired by nature. So at some point in his life, he said, well, I want to compose also for outdoors. And he composed this piece that can be performed either from 9 percussion players up to 99. So we did the biggest version, which is 99. We did it in New York during a festival, Naples, New York. And then we did the recording. So let's watch a little bit of. In order to just the composer himself.
It's hard to say what a drummer is. It's hard to say what percussion is. You've got winds and brass and strings, and then you've got percussion, which is everything else, including the division six. And much of the everything else makes noise, not tone. So this landscape of noise and chaos and openness, it's already a kind of wilderness. I think that just comes with the actual territory of the instruments themselves. It's inherent in the physical and acoustic nature of the percussion. The Ipswich piece is scored for 9 to 99 percussionists, and is intended to be performed and experienced outdoors. Part of it is just the natural evolution of my work over the years, making pieces that are bigger and bigger sonic landscapes, pieces that have begun to exceed the capacity of enclosed spaces. At a certain point, the music becomes too big for a concert.
So, as you can see, it's playing outdoors, a lot of percussion players. There's no, there's no conductor. So this sort of music piece, it's extremely difficult to organize. You see, you have, in this case, like 33 players who have this amount of drums. You have to have a lot of drums, a lot of triangles, a lot of cymbals, a lot of everything, a lot of food, etc. So, these kind of pieces are challenging our not only our skills as musicians, but it's challenging also the audience to perceive music in a different way, the environment in a different way. That's what I like to do also. I like to challenge myself. I like to challenge the genre. I like to challenge the question why I do what I do. What are we doing here? What are we? Is this performance? Is this when I play? I want to challenge the audience to think: is he doing theater? Is he doing music? Or is he doing both, etc. So what I did in order to challenge myself constantly is long collaborations, long-term collaborations with composers. And during the doctorate, I built a ceramic mural for a piece with a Mexican Dutch composer called Felipe Valle. So it took 2 years to develop this piece, and we were this is a mural. So as you can see, each style is different. Each style has a different texture, a different size also. And we decided to add pieces of gaffer tape in order to have more variety and create rhythms with one hand. You will see at the video how the player can it sounds like two players with a very easy motion. And you can create loops, rhythmic loops with one hand. And the idea of this piece was to hang up the mural. It's about that size, that's about the natural size of the mural. And in this case, we decided not to use any electronics. It's not they're amplified, but we wanted to create an illusion of the piece having returns without having returns. So let's see. So as you can see, I'm not using sticks. It's not a, sorry. It's not a normal instrument, it's not a conventional instrument. It's a custom-made instrument. And we didn't manage to have it hanging without muting the instrument. So we decided to keep it for now on the table and using a top camera, as you saw. Because for me, it is very important, since it's not an instrument that we all know, we're not familiar with the instrument, it's important to see the instrument. If I will play for you the audio, you'll think it's electronics or it's some kind of effect. But if you see how it's done, then it's, to me, it's more attractive. Um, but we're all familiar with ceramics and with tiles, but not with this kind of, I don't know, neural instrument. Another collaboration I did was it's called Six Drawings by Randall. It's a music theater piece that created with a composer from Canada living in New York. His name is David Adamczyk. And the concept of this work is inspired and it includes hyper-realistic drawings from Julia Randall. She's an artist based in New York, New Jersey. David and I developed another custom instrument, but this time it's a custom electronic instrument. It includes a contact microphone, a balloon, a voice microphone, a sound interface, computer system software called MaxFlash, Max DSP Flash, that you create there. Two pedals, a volume pedal, a switch pedal, and a video creator. So with this instrument, it's not only either the balloon or the microphones, it's the whole set. That's actually the instrument. Why is that? Because with that setup, the performer is able to control synchronization between images and what he's actually playing, what he performs, the sounds he's producing on the balloon. And with the feet, the performer can control the electronics. The piece has 6 parts. With the feet, you can control when to draw the next part and to control the amount of effect you're applying to the balloon, etc. And you will see the images by Julia Randall are they all have to do, they are at the same time melodic. They all have to do with balloons, or bubbles, or clouds, or water. So that's why the balloon was the best thing to use. That's, so this is the beginning. That was two movements. It goes on, as you see, there's no melody. It's an abstract music theater. At some point, there's a chop head in a lake, and a female figure watching the chop. It's really, it gets not only, it goes from Seinfeld to yeah, something uncomfortable, but it stays. It stays in the side of a question mark. What am I watching? What am I perceiving now? It's this.
What's the duration of pieces like this one, the previous one?
About 15 minutes.
50.
Yeah, each. Yeah, 12. Yeah. This one, the balloon piece, it was created, there's no musical notation for it. So the way we were creating in New York, it was, we were meeting every week. We would work, we decided to work in advance as a choreographer or a theater director. So I would be the actor in that sense, or the dancer. And the composer would be suggesting things, I would be criticizing and suggesting other things. And we will be video recording the best part of the rehearsal. Once we found something, we considered we found something that would be useful, and we decided to record it. So at the end, the score is the video we have in the rehearsals. And it seems pretty much as an improvisation, but almost everything I'm doing, it's fixed. And it goes very natural. As you see, we both design I'm not reading music. That's another aspect I want to address. Because it's important, I think, to try to avoid in my point of view. As a soloist, if you can play without the score, I think it's better to reach the audience. Not better. I consider like if an actor would come out and read Shakespeare, it will be pretty boring. You will have to develop a whole concept around it, otherwise it would make no sense. And in these theater music pieces, well, reading and music, it's just really killing what music theater is. So that's another aspect. If we created a new instrument, we developed a piece in the reference. We know it's a way that where we are not writing and it's not really braining the process. It was really during practice that we were taking decisions and fixing them. But once they were fixed, they're really fixed. I'm not, the piece lasts always the same. You know, I have some freedom within, but the order of the events is always the same. And that's also thanks to the freedom that the system gives to the performer. So we develop, we control the electronics, and with your hands, you're performing physical instruments. So I guess it's.
So was there a specific reason you chose musical theater instead of musical performance?
You mean the concept of just to mention this, to talk about this like
That's
that?
musical theater instead of musical performance.
Yeah, it comes from back tradition, especially percussion. Composers like for John Cage, it's very important for his inspirations. And I got to play most of his music with percussion. And in his life, a big event to address this question would be the Black Mountain event. It was really the first happening in history. And all his work, that event where he included not only music or poetry and hanging paintings and projections that were moving, and the disposition of the audience was not the conventional one. So there will be facing, there will be four triangles facing towards the center. So there will be like an X of corridors where the performers would walk and they could perform behind the audience as well. So the audience were surrounded by a parallelism of events that were not fixed in time. Cage only gave instructions. You have to do this and that at the moment you want. You're going to do it once, you do it 3 times, you do that 4 times, and that was more or less the idea. From then on, he jumped from, he was composing for music, written, notated. Then from then on, he jumped towards the second part of his life became the theater music part. It's been described like that. And he wrote pieces like Water Music, Water Walk, where he's playing in there's a bathtub, playing with water, radios, a bit like what I played for you before, music theater from Anthony Contreras. It's a version of that, but in nowadays, a version of that from the point of view of a composer who is 30 years old now. And that legacy of John Cage, in Chicago, a lot of composers who jumped into this direction made a huge impact in not only the art scene, but also in the music scene. The percussionists, we are doing a lot of theater all the time. And I really consider that percussion, it's more than just playing drums. It's when we have a huge setup, like the first setup, which is the oldest multi-percussion setup, it is a certain, it's an installation. And the physicality of performing such instruments, such challenging pieces, if you take the instruments away with a green screen, blue screen, you'll see how much we run and how much we are physically trained as well. We are jumping, and that's why other pieces, such as Mark Applebaum's pieces, have addressed multi-percussion players more like as dancers rather than as musicians. So people are starting to notate choreographies using music in order to be precise, and percussion players are really precise on time, and we are physically trained in order to perform those physicalities. So we are pretty much active all the time. And after 433 with Cage, where he embraced all kinds of music and he embraced all human activity as theater. So that's why I shut. It's a long progress. I hope it's clear why. But I've been always involved in multimedia projects, theater projects, film projects. So this is a way to kind of combine all of them. So it's, yeah.
It's constructed out.
You see that you say here, since I have a connection with space, the space is sort of like coordinated to the performance. Performance can easily flow into a non-coordinated space. Computer is mostly about the space and the performance and interacts.
Yeah, absolutely. And as musicians, we are really sensitive. Like imagine an architect entering a new building, a new room. He's always thinking about structure. Even if you don't really, if the architect is not conscious of that, me as a percussion player, I know I kind of have an idea how the walls sound if I hit them here. If I like, do something with each material that is inside the room. So we are kind of touching, playing our space in the mind all the time. It's like a mind psychological theater. But we have to organize the specialization of our instruments. We have to choreograph our movements and space in order to be a time precise. We have to recite unity in our go to the next part. Yeah, the next one. In the work that I want to do here, I will perform another with this time with leads, music solo. I include also um, speaking. So it's really that direction. There's another version of this piece, the balloon piece that you saw. And I developed it with another video artist. It's called Mathieu Desau, but his artistic name is Mouthy with K. So we work at La SAT, is the Société de, it's the Art and Technology Society. And that's on the third screen, you have 8 projectors, a lot of speakers, and our intention was to create the immersion, the immersive aspect of being inside the balloon. So we found that this space, it's like a planetarium in a gel. It's devoted to this sort of projects, creating visuals, combining any sound or performance that is involved, and it's creating images like reactive images. That's what it. I can show you some. I'll show you some pictures to get an idea. Yeah. So, we're moving each let's say each white ball that you see in the screen, in the back screen, will be moving independently and it's reacting to what I'm doing on the surface of the balloon. And this version does not include the drawings you saw, the mouth. The other thing was a chewing gum, like a gigantic chewing gum. So that's why we call it only 6 drawings. And I think Mathieu did an amazing job. We worked in a very short time, and the idea, I think, is very clear. You can be also laying down to really have the earth in about the middle of the sphere. You really feel the earth inside of the sphere. More than 180 degrees, so it's a bit more like about 130. It's almost a sphere, and it's an amazing experience. So, okay, let's jump to the performance installation I want to do here. It's called Lemba's Drifting Wira. I want to read a lot of anything that's helpful now. So it's Lemba. I don't know if any of you know what Lemba is, but some of you guys know who Lemba was. Lemba. He was one of the first slaves who stood for the his rights in what we know now, IT and the Dominican Republic. I was there for a month during February this year, while my intern was doing residence, and we did a collaboration about a percussion instrument that is really common, especially there in Dominican Republic, the huila. Here they call it huili. It's an idiophone that you scratch. And it used to be a Taino traditional instrument, and we wanted to address extermination through the fact that this instrument is still present and it's being used in everyday music of the Caribbean. So we decided to do a research. We went with musicians, we went to the National Archive, and read about it, and we designed 2 instruments. One is pretty much normal huila, and it has some typographies, some phrases related to the culture of merengue and bachata, traditional music from there. And we wanted to do another huila, which would be unconventional, and it's a vest that looks like an armor. So the metaphor was is an armor. It's an armor that looks like a medieval, rather European medieval armor, and it's originated from a Taino traditional instrument. So there you have 2. And then we have the name of Lemba. It's getting boring. I see some people are doing this, so maybe if it's boring, people are welcome to. So what I want to do is a live performance to go out and choose specific places in the city, historical places from the port. I know that in Aruba there was not so much slave trading research, they were islands, etc. But it's definitely an aspect that we have to still address. I think really serious about it. I think if we think about 15 million people, I think it's a lot. In my country, we are really worried about 120,000 people, and it's really a scandal. And you multiply that, I think that these people will be slaves. I think that's terrible for people, all of us. Regardless, the color of our skin or where we come from, it doesn't matter. So I really want to make a point of that. I want to choose places that are relevant to the history of this land. I want I will be playing this instrument slash artwork, and it makes a really high frequency sound that can cut the air, but travel really, really fast, and it bounces in the buildings. So I want to choose historical buildings, but also acoustics that are better for this instrument. So in that sense, I will be inhabiting this land through sound. So it will be a kind of sound integration as well. And at the end of the trip, there will be a second half of the performance in the opposite. And it will be very similar to what Kevin was with his hand. So I plan to write the name of Lema, Tuna, other slaves that are really relevant but for us to be here now. And that's still in process, but I will do a performance which is silent. And the metaphor is that those names are ghosts, they don't sound, but they're still there. And I think they will still be there forever. And the third part of the performance will be this solo. It's called Corporel by Victor Loboka, composer born in Slovenia, who is now French. And he's still alive, he's quite old, but he has written a lot of music theater as well, and improvisations. And the relevance of this piece is that it's a body percussion piece. So it's a human being who is discovering himself or herself, and he or she finds a way to use the voice until, well, there's a conflict first, an internal conflict, and at some point there's a text that is philosophical and is questioning why are we always doing this as humanity. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I was planning to perform it, I think it's great. Rather next week. Now it's very heavy. It's good there. We're like an hour too late. But I will perform next week.
Could we at least see the one that was loading from Vimeo? Yeah, the one of the balloons.
The what? Sorry?
The one that was loading on Vimeo. Yeah.
To the video.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed off. Yeah.